Hello everyone and hello my lovely little weasels of Volt and Volt Prime are gonna be the topic of today's video. I have three builds for you guys because I consider Volt a jack of all trades Warframe. Now Gauss could be considered, but Volt can do more, I guess, diverse things in Warframe, like for example being utilized in ESO. For example in Survival Steel Path you can do a lot of cool missions like extermination and capture really fast, and of course Idolon hunting, the main Idolon hunter Warframe in the game. So Volt, let's talk about him. First of all, let's cover the abilities and the passive. If you already know all of that, you can just skip on ahead. Well, his passive is going to be that over time, while you're walking, running and or sliding, you will collect electricity damage, a maximum of 1000 bonus damage. This damage is going to be, I guess, dispersed or shot out of your next melee attack and or primary weapon, I guess, shot. So that's pretty cool, but not very useful. Shock is going to be very useful. It is his first ability. Now, you can tap it and then you can of course shock enemies in front of you, which is pretty cool, do electricity damage, and you can also chain enemies, which is very nice, and you can stun lock them, which is also very nice, but we want to utilize the augment for this ability called Shock Trooper. Now, this will allow us to actually hold the ability and give ourselves electricity bonus damage on our weapons, which is very cool. Now, a couple of things that I want you guys to keep in mind. This does not combine with other elements. So for example, I have viral as well through, as you may have been seeing in Steel Path gameplay right now, nourish, so that gives me viral, and I do have the toxin clouds for the dual ichor, but they will not combine into corrosive. So yeah, there you go, keep that in mind. But the additional electricity damage is always going to be very cool, like the second ability being speed. Basically that is it. It will give you a speed buff and also reload and a melee attack speed buff, which is very nice. This will allow you to do really fast capture, extermination, rescue missions. It is one of his best abilities, and it also does affect enemies, or I guess not enemies, sorry, allies, which increases the speed of the missions as well. Electrical shield or electric shield is his third ability. Now you can place this down or you can pick it up by pressing your X. They allowed you to use your primary finally on it, and what this gives you is bonus 50% base electricity damage, and it gives you a base 100% critical damage bonus. Now the critical damage bonus, if you place for example 3 shields in a row, it's only gonna give you an extra additional 50% per shield for your bonus electricity damage, but the critical damage will stay the same. It's always gonna be at 100%, and this comes after mods, so keep that in mind. But having this shield active is going to be very cool, because if you place it around, you can place down 6 around yourself, you have a 360 degree of protection. But I prefer carrying it around, ragdolling enemies and increasing my damage on the go. And Discharge is his fourth ability. Now basically this is going to be very useful for crowd controlling a lot of enemies. You disperse electricity damage in a radius behind you, or I guess around you, and you do electricity damage, which as I said stuns enemies, which is very nice. And you can, I guess, utilize your first ability and stun a couple of enemies, which will create little pockets of bursts of electricity, which is very cool. But this ability in this Steel Path case is going to be changed out for Nourish. Now Nourish gives us extra energy on energy pickups, and it gives us additional viral, which is very nice, because this build is oriented towards doing damage. Now, what build am I exactly talking about? I'm going to be talking about the Volt Steel Path build, which looks like this. This is the first build on the menu, and I'm going to be utilizing shield gating in this instance, and of course, as I said, Nourish and utilizing Equilibrium for energy. We do not have Prime Energize, but Prime Surfer this here, but change that out for Handspring, and there you go. Energy Nexus can be changed out for catalyzing shields as well, so it really depends on your playstyle. I find out that you can survive like this, but sometimes it may be difficult, so there you go, keep that in mind. And you might be wondering what are going to be the Archon Shards. Now keep in mind, I keep the Archon Shards basically the same throughout all of these builds. I don't change them out, I'm not a madman, but the Archon Shards look like this. I have one for 15% power strength, the other one's for 10, and also a purple one for 10 additional per enemy affected by electricity. Then we have a 32.5% casting speed, and then we have an additional one giving us 50 energy, which is going to be very nice, because in some of our builds we do not utilize flow like we do not utilize it in this one. So that is my Steel Path build. I found that you can survive pretty easily with this, you can kill a lot of enemies pretty easily with this, but the weapon of choice is going to be the boar. Now, I utilize the boar primarily because it is extremely good with the increased speed, with the increased damage. This weapon just blazes and shreds through Steel Path, one of the best beam weapons in the game, I think, and I definitely recommend you play and test it out for yourself. And this is my Epitaph build, which is my secondary. I do have Augur Seeker, which is going to be very good. I'll combine with Augur Pack, giving me extra energy on my ability casts, which we do need, shield gaining of course. I do have a Viral Blast and Heat, and secondary encumbered there to give me additional elements because I'm utilizing my melee weapon a lot. It is going to be the dual Ihor. I have utilized this weapon for a lot of Warframes like Saren and Norris, for example, but this is going to be the build for Volt. I think that this is sort of the best outcome that you can come up with this weapon, and the Incarnate mode makes it even better, of course, and these are the evolutions that you might be seeing on the screen right now that I use. The Stalks and Clouds are incredibly good because they sit around for a lot and they do additional damage through viral and also corrosive, so it is very, very cool. You can just look in the other direction and enemies are dying behind you, but what do you want to die in front of you? It is going to be many different Idolons. Yes, we utilize the Volt for Idolon hunts as well. The Idolon build, I'm not going to cover it a lot because I'm still trying to, I guess, make a really good Idolon video, but sorry if I bumped the mic right there, but this is my Idolon hunting build. This is where I primarily use a little bit of survivability through Umbral Vitality. Arcane Nullfire and Arcane Primary Charge are incredibly good because I use what's called Zaw weapon to kill enemies, so that gives me a boost on my primary damage. I'm not going to cover the weapons because they're pretty bad, so I'm just going to cover the build that I utilize, Shock Trooper, and here instead of our fourth ability we have our beautiful Eclipse. This is going to give me around the base 101% damage boost, and when Molt Augmented, or sorry not Molt Augmented, but when Growing Power procs, it gives me a little bit more, I think 108%, which is very nice, and Precision Intensify was there for that exact same reason. You can kill Idolons incredibly easily. It is dependent on your weapon, of course, keep that in mind, but I think this is possibly one of the best builds. I do want to hear you guys' comments on that. Maybe I can change something before I actually upload that video. So that is gonna be the Idolon hunting Volt, where you're gonna kill many Idolons throughout the night, but you want to level up your weapons really badly. So what are you gonna do? And go into ESO and use Volt ESO, I guess, the build for Volt ESO. Here we have Archon Stretch, which is going to be giving us a lot of energy. We're going to be focusing primarily on range here, a little bit of damage. Again, Umbral Intensify, just because I don't want to change out that Arcane, or I guess that Forma slot, so I'm not going to change it. Precision Intensify to increase the damage of our fourth ability, and Arcane Energize is going to be here for energy, but you possibly can utilize something else like Energy Nexus inside of Prime Flow or some other mod that's going to give you energy alongside Archon Stretch. So that was the ESO build. This is the ESO build that I primarily use to just level up my weapons, and this actually is really good for gaining a lot of focus. So I guess this is a 2-in-1 build, so there you go. I hope you guys are happy, and I think that this build is going to bring you a lot of focus and is going to level up your weapons incredibly fast. Now, the companions, and I'm going to be covering quickly the focus goals of choice. Now, for the first build and also the ESO build, I utilize Nautilus. This is the Nautilus build, and this is going to be Death Machine build. I utilize those two. I kind of changed it out recently. So those two are going to be very good for crowd controlling enemies and also gaining shields back and energy, or sorry, health when I need it, and energy sort of through Synthetic Construct. So those are the two I utilize there, and I'm going to be also utilizing the Smida Kavat when I do hunt down Idolons, so that is what I use for hunting down those pesky Idolons. Now, for the focus goals of choice, for the first Steel Path build and also for the Idolon build, I use, not our Idolon build, sorry, for the ESO build, I use Neramon. I do use primarily for Power Spike just to keep up my combo, but Madurai is going to be very cool. In Madurai, we could focus on a couple of different things, and the first thing that we want to, of course, mention is going to be Void Strike. This is going to increase our Void Amp damage. It's good for Idolons. We're going to be utilizing Containment Wave as well, which is going to be even better, and then power transfer, and then sling strength for casting speed and power strength respectively, like we usually utilize. And that is pretty much it for Volt. I think that you guys are clever enough, or I guess clever, I can't speak apparently, enough to utilize the builds. I hope you guys enjoyed them. If you have any sort of comments, any things maybe you would change out, I'm very, very open-minded on that, and I want to hear you guys' comments on that. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. This has been the Gaming Weasel. Do leave a like, comment down below on what you think of the builds, and do subscribe for more. I'm gonna be always here uploading, having fun, and making you guys have fun. But now I'm over and out.